With the introduction of the new TFT set, Remix Rumble, came a bunch of fresh and fun traits that have breathed life into the game. Like, seriously, this is easily my favorite TFT set since Fate a year or so ago, with several different comps being viable on release. Now that we've gotten a couple of weeks into this set, I wanted to show off some of my favorite comps to play with right now, as well as some advice on how to play them. Just as a disclaimer though, I'm currently Gold 2 as of writing this, so while I'm not some TFT mastermind, I at least kind of know what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and start off with a comp that isn't as viable as it was when I recorded this footage. I played all of these games on 13.23, and with the newest patch there came a nerf to Annie, and that leads me into our first comp, Spellweaver Annie Carry. Coming in Remix Rumble are Headliners, which are units who contribute 2 to a selected trait, along with getting some extra stats or buff of some kind. There's also another trait called Superfan, which exists to strengthen your Headliner. The main idea behind this comp was to run Annie alongside other Spellweavers, Superfans, and some KDA units to give her the ability to deal out huge damage at fast speeds. When you have 3 Superfans, your Headliner gains an item, and Annie's item used to be Spear of Shojin. Combine that with a second Spear and a Gnasher's Tooth, and her damage output became utterly ridiculous, with Annie casting her spell every 2 auto attacks as long as the emo trait was activated. There's a lot that goes into making this comp strong, but the main part of it was Annie's damage output. In the newest patch, Annie's Superfan item was changed from Spear of Shojin to Jeweled Gauntlet, making the build a bit more complicated. Of course, you can still try running the build, simply placing 2 spears on Annie with your own items, but that's much less consistent, and you're also losing your Headliner buff, so the trade-off may not be worth it. Our second comp is actually similar to the last one, but isn't affected as much by the recent Annie nerfs, so it may actually be worth trying out. Welcome to my Disco team. The main aspect of Disco are these Disco Balls, which you can move around your board. Units that stand in the Disco Ball hexes gain attack speed and receive healing every 3 seconds, as well as at the beginning of the round. As with the last team, Annie is one of your main carries in this comp, but your Headliner should be focused on either Nami, Tarek, or Gragas, while aiming to have the Headliner trait be Disco. Add in an Echo and an Amumu to help strengthen your front line, and then create a solid late game carry in Twisted Fate. It's a pretty simple team and has been a bit inconsistent, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Next up is a very, very popular comp in Ranked, and no doubt something you've probably seen as well. This is Punk. The main mechanic of Punk is rerolling, so if you're confident that you have no clue how to save your money and just constantly reroll, then Punk is what you want to run. The main carries of this comp are Jinx and Pantheon, with your Headliner usually being one of these two. I tend to run Pantheon, Vi, and Jinx as my Punk characters, hoping, to have a Headliner that contributes to Punk. And then throw some extra rapid fire champions in to help Jinx carry, while I throw in another Guardian to help Pantheon tank better. This is actually an insanely consistent comp, but it kind of does rely on getting your 3 stars on your Punks very early in the game. And due to how popular the comp is, it's highly likely that you'll see 1 or 2 other people in your lobby playing the comp too, so you better hope you get those 3 stars early. Despite that little slight drawback though, it's insanely strong, and Jinx with her optimal items does stupid amounts of damage. Our fourth comp is another one that received a slight nerf in the most recent patch, but was the main competitive comp before Annie took over the game. So let's talk about Country and Crowd Divers. Country is the summoning comp of this set, which is just sort of a weird sentence to say out loud, with your team summoning a Dreadsteed, in this case Hecarim, once their total HP drops by 1/3. As usual with summoning comps, Hecarim gets stronger the higher the star levels of your units, but this actually isn't really what makes the comp strong. 2 words: Headliner, Katarina. Katarina in this set is a Country Crowd Diver, and Crowd Diver, that's a new trait that was added in this set. Crowd Divers gain bonus damage at the start of combat, and then an extra 1% bonus damage every second of combat. On top of that, when a Crowd Diver dies, they leap to the furthest enemy, dealing magic damage and stunning the target for, I want to say 1 second, maybe 1.25, something like that. Katarina has, a fairly strong spell, throwing a knife that bounces between targets, but the items are what make her completely broken. If you have 4 Crowd Divers and place 2 Hands of Justice and a Jeweled Gauntlet on Katarina, she is damn near unkillable sometimes. I've run this comp before and had Katarina kill basically an entire team on her own, healing the whole way through. As I said, this was slightly nerfed this patch, with Katarina receiving a reduction to her Headliner bonuses, but I'm sure she'll still be stupidly overpowered. With Tahm Kench and Hecarim frontlining for her, Katarina can dish out damage all game long. Finally, we're on to our last comp, and honestly my personal favorite. Not because I came up with it, not because it's super unique, and not because it has any of my favorite champions on it. I just find it funny to watch Yasuo bonk other champions to death. Welcome to my true damage team. This team slightly differs depending on how your headliner Yasuo is built. If he's a true damage chosen, then your Kennen is replaced with a Riven later in the game, but if he's an edgelord chosen, you know, it's the version of the team you're seeing on the screen right now. Early on, you'll want to roll to get a 3-star Yasuo as soon as possible. Yasuo's whole thing is that whenever he kills enemies, he actually gains 1% attack damage, and that stacks infinitely throughout the game. So you want to get it as early as possible, get items on him as early as possible, and make sure he's killing stuff as early as possible. He's like the center to this entire team, with Echo serving as your main tank, bolstered by a Mordekaiser you'll add later. In order, your trait priority though is true damage, and then edgelord, then sentinel, so you know that's from Mordekaiser, and then finally pentakill, swapping out your Riven or your Yone or whatever with a Viego, and then you had Kayle earlier as an edgelord, Mordekaiser is your other sentinel, and then there you go. There's pentakill. Once you level 8 and your team is complete, Yasuo can shred through most enemies, especially with a Hand of Justice or Bloodthirster on your side. I will say though, I think his best item is actually Death Stance. If you're lucky enough to get an Ornn Anvil, or you're running one of the boards that gives you an artifact early, and you see a Death Stance, grab it and run this team. Yasuo with Deathblade, i.e. Death's Gauntlet, or Death Stance, is ridiculously overpowered. And that's it. I've been having a ton of fun with this set, and I'm actually aiming to go past Platinum for the first time literally ever in TFT. I normally stop at Platinum. This time I'm gonna try and go past it onto Emerald. We'll see if I do that, and if I do, I may stream it. If that's something you guys are interested in, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a pretty exciting first week back on the channel. We had Pokemon, we had Spider-Man, we had Dark Souls 3, now we have this. I know I've done TFT videos before, but we're trying to make the Thursday slot have some more interesting stuff next week. Probably gonna be an Apex Legends video. Either that or it's gonna be Market Mastery. It depends on how Alan's feeling on getting that out. There will be Market Mastery this month, don't worry, and then there's one planned for January. I don't know what we're doing on February yet, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. But yeah, just we're working on trying to make Thursday as fun and interesting as possible. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching once again. Some other TFT stuff we've done on the channel. One where I got 2 3-star forecasts in one game. That video was pretty funny. Another one where we played the Soul Brawl game mode with me and 5 other friends. Also a ton of fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching anyway, and we'll see you later. Bye!